Welcome to the Amplify Imagination podcast, where bold voices, big ideas, and boundary pushing conversations come to life, straight from the heart of the APSS Convention 2025. Our topic for this session is human connection in the age of AI. And in a world where ChatGPT can write a speech, an avatar can deliver it, and AI can analyze your audience engagement, what exactly are we still doing on stage? And this is what we're going to explore today with my guests who are coming from all over the world. So please, let's welcome Linda Magennis, Dr. James Smith Jr., and Neerja Singh. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I would like to start with my favorite part, your self-introduction. But please keep it to 2-3 minutes and just tell me all the most amazing things about yourself I would like to know.
I guess I'll go first.
Yes, please.
Again, Dr. James Smith Jr. I am an author, I'm an educator, I'm a speaker, trainer, visionary, as well as the father of 2 special need sons. They both have autism and they both are nonverbal. And they are gifts for me. I truly, truly love my sons and my daughter Daisha, my heartbeat. I live in the United States. I'm a speaker, but I'm also educator. So I teach for 3 universities, Rutgers University, Temple University, and Rushford Business School in Geneva, Switzerland. I did 14 years in corporate before I decided to go out on my own. And I couldn't imagine doing anything else in life other than helping people grow, get out of their own way, and live their lives out loud and very authentically.
Wow.
Wow.
Deep. This is like setting the tone for the whole podcast conversation today. Okay, thank you, Dr. James.
Honored to be here.
Linda?
I think I'm about to pass on that question because I don't have too much else to add, actually.
Just be yourself.
Well, that's now really hard. So I think I'd introduce myself then as a professional pharmacist and one who's gone into the visual world by also doing another degree, which was in graphic design and photography, just for a difference, a change. But now I'm able to connect in the AI space, in the human space, in coaching, in photography. There's quite a lot to that. And of course, in pharmacy, where I counsel patients and help them to move on to next, particularly when they have a bad diagnosis of something, a cancer, a limb that has to be removed, whatever the case might be. And so pretty much in a nutshell, I also do business coaching for business schools on the MBA program and executive education. And I enjoy taking corporate pictures. That at the moment is my favorite big thing.
I would love to see one of those. Thank you, Linda. Neerja?
I am the official teenager, the senior teenager. I call myself that because I burn with generational diversity, how to harness it, how to leverage it, because I do believe today what we really need is generational benevolence, and it can't be taken as a given anymore because the worldviews of the generations, the 5 generations at work today, and perhaps 7 of them alive today, that generational disconnect needs to be addressed and bridged. This is my 5th career as a speaker. I write a regular feature on this subject. I've written books, I research, I'm constantly thinking about this subject. And my fervent wish, my message to everybody out there is to just be very, very open today and focus on the connection.
Thank you so much, Neerja. And my name is Yana Fry. And in my day job, I'm the founder and host of Yana TV. We are Singapore's leading independent talk show where we amplify the voices of impactful and conscious people of Asia. And it is my honor and pleasure to be your host today. My next question, which I personally also find very important, why are you here today on this podcast? Linda, would you like to start?
Yana, you told us to think carefully about why we
Human connection in the age of AI.
I think we're here to share our wisdom and certainly expressive view around the human connection and the need for that in this generation. And like Neerja, I'm in the teenager age category. Remember, I'm only 16 and a quarter years old because I'm in a leap year. And I love the fact that we can talk intergenerationally and bring in that we're still all human. And we're going to find value in that. And I loved Eugene's poem to really just bring it all together. Why we're here, what we're doing, and as speakers, to never lose that human touch.
Dr. James?
I wholeheartedly agree. Never want to lose that touch. I'm here because I have a story to share. I have a story around authenticity and a story about people being true to themselves. In my field of work, people oftentimes say, I'm one way at home and I'm one way at work. Why can't you be you all the time? And even with all this technology that's there, artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, you name it, it plays a role in perhaps not elevating who we are, in some way masking who we are. People want us. The artificial intelligence, the technology, that's the seasoning. We're the meat.
Oh, I
And
love that.
I want people to continue to bring the meat. And that's the story I'm going to share, and that's why I'm here.
I would love to hear the story later today. So thank you, Neerja.
Well, I am here because of the two words human connection. And the thing is that I lost my 32-year-old highly accomplished daughter 3 years ago, and she died of she lived and left on her own terms, let me put it like that. And with her, I realized today that connection is one thing that cannot be taken for granted. You have to be proactively stepping up to connect with people. There is too much of a cacophony out there. There's too much of a noise. You have to cut through it and be extremely intentional about it. Otherwise, there can be disastrous consequences. I'm personally hugely invested in the subject. That's why I'm here.
Thank you so much for sharing. It's going more and more deeper and human with what we are. So I'm already feeling it's going to be very raw, very honest, and very, very deep conversation. As we are speakers here, why am I here? How did I forget to say this? Why am I sitting in this particular chair? Human connection is one of my biggest passions, and everything that I do is around human connection. And I don't really have probably any particular reason. It has always been like that. And maybe just to continue your topic, when we all come from a difficult and challenging circumstances, and we all do one way or another, whether we share it on our very polished and popular social media or usually not, but I mean, rest assured, every human being has a story, like you guys starting to share, that really built us, things we had to overcome. And I found that I wouldn't be where I am today, so I can actually relate to what your daughter was going through. And I wouldn't be the person I am today if it was not for human connection. And so to me, it is very important. And I'm curious and a little bit terrified what's happening with the AI stepping on our toes. So let's see how can we blend it all together and what happens. And given that we are speakers and we are at APSS Speakers Convention, so my first question would be, what role can professional speakers play in championing authentic human connection in this increasingly, in a rapidly increasing digital world? So who would like to start?
I can take that.
Okay.
I believe that most speakers come from a place of some kind of trauma because something has shifted in their lives and something compels them to put their message across because they have gone through a pain that they feel they can share and help other people overcome. Something similar. And in that sense, they have stories that will really resonate with other people. They have the skill to deliver their stories in a compelling manner so that it lands and people take away some lessons from that. And the speakers can play a role in continuing to be honest and tell their stories with integrity. I think that's how they can help the most.
Thank you, Mr.
My
James.
nickname in the industry is the presentation skills doctor. I help others truly take their speaking skills not to the next level, levels beyond that. And I believe speakers, we should present to express, not impress. And if we are truly expressing and sharing our story, realizing that what we've gone through in life is not for us, it's for other people who are going through it or heading toward it. And as speakers, if we live what we give, we can be the greatest visual aid, not PowerPoint, not artificial intelligence, but us, the biggest visual aid. I sometimes ask people, have you ever seen a stand-up comedian? And they raise their hands. And then I say, keep your hands up if that stand-up comedian was using PowerPoint. No, no. And for 2 hours, we laugh nonstop with the images that that speaker, a comedian, creates in your head. We have that much power. That's what I believe we're here to do.
Wow. Linda?
I'm so it's
Tough
enthusiastic.
crowd, right? It's tough crowd here.
But not only that, my mind has gone off into the world of mime, the world of comedian, and now I'm finding it very difficult to come back into the question. That's the art of innovation, and apologies that I'm already on another page. But you mentioned about a story, and what did come to mind is way back when I had a thyroid operation and was never aware of the fact that there would be any damage to vocal cords or anything like that. I wasn't aware of that. And overnight, I was mute. And I happened to be a principal officer, because as a pharmacist, I could be a principal officer of a medical scheme. And I used to go around and do all the talks, about the scheme and what was on and so forth. And I was scheduled to do a run and came out of hospital and had no voice whatsoever. And the doctor came past, said, hello, and I said, oh, no. He said, say it again. And that's when he said, I'm afraid you won't speak again. So, yes, it was 2 years of complete muteness. I had to clap. I had to get a whistle. I could no longer answer phones. Now, why I tell that story? Because suddenly the human connection is this. I came onto the stage 18 months ago, and the first time around, it didn't dawn on me because I'd forgotten about it, and I'd gradually got my voice back. But I burst into tears. The trauma suddenly caught up with me. I was like, oh my word. Yes, there was a lot of buried stuff there. But the humanness was the friends who gathered around and said, hold on, Linda, it's not the end. It's the beginning of your healing journey, which I hadn't realized. So, yes, AI doesn't take that away from you. And now I will speak because by the grace of God, I have got enough voice back. And that too was a miracle because it wasn't on the cards.
I'm just listening and I'm like, how honored I am to have you guys on this podcast. Why did I deserve, to just be here and sit with all those stories that you are just also just so honestly sharing right now. And I find it is so important that we do that just because, especially as speakers, when we are there on stages, traveling the world, making money, hopefully, hopefully a lot for what we do, and commanding the stage and changing lives. And people often think that we are superhumans. Because also then we good, at least we try to be decent at branding and the content posting. And yes, we share some stories, not always very personal stories, because we also tailor it sometimes or often to the audience that we speak to. But then again, that people start getting into this grind of who is real, who is not here. And I just find like also the conversation that we are having today, how important it is, especially for speakers who are becoming more and more successful and influencing more and more people, to just constantly remind themselves and show by example in the audience that they are human beings. So it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to go through tough times and share this. So there's relatability there. That otherwise, machine AI is, in terms of cognitive skills and intellect, far superior than all of us together. So what sets us apart, right, in that case? Neerja, you wanted to add something to Linda's story.
I wanted to share what is written on her diary. I noticed that she believed she could, so she did. And she did. That's really striking. I do want to say that AI, as compared to human beings, the thing you said was what is left for human beings to do. What is left for human beings to do? I think ethics, morality, and the sense of right and wrong, because we are still in the wild west of technology, and technology has not received a civilization yet. It's not been civilized as yet. So that is where the humans are going to play a role. They're going to define what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, what is in the long-term welfare of the human race, and what can be very destructive. So that is a very important, significant role that human beings are going to play going forward.
And I'm just looking at us, and I told at the very beginning of our panel, here, look, we have Linda who has notebook with beautiful quote and handwritten notes, and I'm having my iPhone for a few points I want to say, and we are talking about human connection and technology, and here is the direct illustration also across generations, how it's like here we are, not planned, totally coincidentally, but we are living an example of it, right? So my generation, millennials, would be more probably, okay, so my iPhone, my Telegram app, who wants to tell me something. But I also sort of with that, let's dive into the relationship aspect. So we talk about human connection, and a big part of human connection is building and sustaining relationship, right? With our children, with ourselves, with our communities. So now with AI becoming stronger and stronger every year, like what do you feel it's doing to the relationship? So what is it changing? How is it influencing relationship we have with ourselves, with others, and with the world?
I think it's not think, I believe it's creating more distance versus closeness, where it's becoming, I guess, it's speaking for us rather than us speaking our truth, speaking truth to power, sharing our experiences. And we have to model that for our listeners and our learners. I remember there was a movie in the United States years ago called 12 Years a Slave.
Yes, I remember that movie.
Yes. My life was 40 years of Jim, and Jim is spelled Jim. If you knew me prior to me going to college, you called me James, my birth name, Smitty, or Jimmy. And I went to multiracial schools, very diverse schools. And then when I went to college, I stepped foot on campus. My college demographic was 99% white Caucasian. And those optics immediately made me feel like I didn't belong. Even though I graduated number 2 out of 600 in high school, I didn't feel like I belonged. I wasn't smart enough. So my classmates and my football teammates called me Jim. I said, no, my name is James. Come on, man. Loosen up. You're Jim. I said, my name is James. But I wanted to fit in. So I put on Jim, much like a woman puts on Spanx, and I wore that name. Graduated, went to corporate, started my own company, called it Jim Packed Enterprises. Jim with impact, Jim Packed. But in doing that, I lost me. I began to fake it till I made it, didn't speak truth to power, go along to get along, and I didn't feel like myself. And in corporate, I finally left as a vice president, but as a Jim. It wasn't until Mr. Floyd, George Floyd, was murdered, March of 2020. And I remember being in my office, working from home, watching the coverage. And I had this surreal experience where my grandchildren sat on my lap. I said, Papa, what are you going to do now that they killed Mr. Floyd? What are you going to do? It's surreal because I don't have grandchildren. But in my mind, I had to do more. All this time I thought I was an advocate, an ally. I had to shift to advocate because that's more work. And I felt if I'm going to do that, let me put my birth given name back on, get rid of this Jim character, and do it as James Smith Jr. Be the advocate, fight for others, set the example. And that's what I believe part of what we should be doing is setting an authentic example.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm feeling good. Linda?
I was going to say, how do we do that? Because sometimes it feels that AI is almost overpowering. It's overpowering and overwhelming. And it's got its own trajectory. And pretty much if you get in the way too much, you get run over because it's moving ahead. It's a moving train. You're not going to stop it. So I answer with another question.
I love how you're doing that.
Over to you.
Wow, now I get a question. I love that. Well, let me confess. Okay, can I make a confession? So yesterday I was sitting late at night at home. I have a baby at home. She's 11 months. And I was super stressed because she didn't sleep. And it took me a while to settle her to sleep. And I'm still breastfeeding and doing all kind of things at home. I'm like, okay, big conference tomorrow. I have to put, put my hat on, moderator hat on, big pants, right? Be a big girl and go out there on stage. And it was very late. And I'm like, I don't have any imagination to come up with questions. So I have, I need AI help. So I went to ChatGPT and I said, ChatGPT, help me. So please generate some questions around human connection in the age of AI. And I was just amazed. I just got sucked into the conversation for 30 minutes with ChatGPT. It told me, here are your 5 questions. And they were like spot on. Like they were really, really good. And then AI went even further. And then it said, by the way, do you want to have an opening line for your panel? And do you want statistics? Do you want a quote? Or do you want a deep personal story? So I got very curious and I told him, show me all the 3. And it was like, here's the statistics, and here is the quote from Brené Brown, and here's the story how a speaker was using an AI app, and this is what happened. And I was like, wow. And then AI asked, do you want the closing line? I'm like, you must be kidding me. I mean, how? Now I just have to put my avatar out there. I don't even have to show up. And so I was sitting there and just reflecting, how are we going to do it going forward? And even more important, the next generation. Like today, Neerja, I was at your talk and you were talking about alpha generation, right? And I was actually Googled it. Okay, my daughter was born last year, so she's like on the edge of alpha generation and beta generation. And I researched a little bit and realized they're going to all grow up with the virtual Google glasses, probably have AI as their teachers and study in the virtual classrooms. And I got a bit scared. And I'm thinking, what can we do as those who still grew up without technology so we actually understand the value of human connection? How can we pass it on?
I want to go back a little, Yana, to
Please.
the earlier question. I consider myself a compulsive optimist. And when the tractors were invented, the horse lobby was up in arms. And there was a time when the Ottoman Empire did not permit people to gather over a cup of coffee because they spoke, they exchanged notes, and they sometimes rebelled. It was not permitted, and today it's the done thing. We have coffee, cafe day all over the place. Everybody gets together around coffee. I believe that the human spirit will go on and on. And it is humanity that will endure come what may. Perhaps what appears daunting at this time will eventually free us to perhaps nurture and participate in what's being called the feelings economy. We are out of touch with our humanity, our human connection. Perhaps we are going to be able to move closer to that. we'll be able to. If right now we are bogged down with so much to do. We are like, you talk about being distracted. There's so much you're trying to close around. But AI is going to perhaps equip us and do things faster for us, like it helped you yesterday, last night. And then you were free to be with the baby, right? I believe that that's going to happen. So I think AI is good.
Dr. James, what do you think about AI?
I believe that too much of any one thing is too much.
Yes.
There should be balance. I like a little salt and pepper on my steak. But if I put a lot of salt and a lot of pepper, I'm not going to taste the steak. I liken that to AI. Too much of any one thing is too much. You need balance. I'm a physical storyteller, but I need to bring data and chronological sequence and order and statistics with my stories. But if I give too much lecture, I'm losing sight of the heart of the matter. That's why I believe with AI and with the human, we become play-by-play and color. If you watch a game, there's two people in a booth. One is giving you the play-by-play, and one's giving you the story. And I believe AI should help us with the play-by-play, but my lived experience should be my story.
I'm loving that. And actually, to illustrate the point, I did more research on generations, on Gen Z and on millennials and how they raise their children. And I also have a bonus son who is 21 right now, and I raised him since he was 4 years old. And what I have been watching him, so I'm millennial. I have been a lot on social media. The joke is I never liked social media. I never wanted to be on social media. And then marketing gurus forced me to be on social media. And now I end up having a huge social media presence. And I still don't like social media, but I post every day, okay? So my generation does a lot of that. And we have also a lot of personal information on social media. We tend to share personal stories and often tend to post pictures of our children on social media and do all of those things. And so what's interesting now, when I look at the generation of my bonus son, who is Gen Z, so they grew up with that. All of them have closed social media account. Well, most at least, they would have maybe Instagram account, which is closed for friends only. He did not even add me, okay, to this. So, right. So I have no idea, yes, what's happening there. And they sent each other those disappearing messages that you watch once and it disappears out of privacy. There are no pictures of them online. And statistically, actually, what I found out that millennial parents like me tend to overshare perhaps on social media when it comes to your private life, and Gen Z actually more reserved. So what you were just sharing right now, nature regulates itself. So we're going to be fine with AI.
So I was just going to say, and me as the true alpha, because remember, I'm only 16 and a
Yes,
quarter.
yes.
I don't even have that social media account, or if it is there, you will notice that there's no activity whatsoever. We just know we do not share outside the house. There was an Afrikaner, I can't even remember my Afrikaans anymore because we've spoken far too much English. But pretty much the rule is that you never talk outside the home. So, for example, I would never have shared about my thyroid operation ever. And it's only since I've been in the speaker environment that has come to the fore. And I think primarily because I burst into tears, which I would never do. I'm a number 1 on the Enneagram, so I can help you load the dishwasher properly. And we just get on with life. We're self-sufficient. We don't reach out. I don't reach into the Google chat or nothing. I go back into the library of my head or into the library of my own physical library, and I go and find my information. So I have got to make the transition now out into that space. And frankly, when I listen to speakers and they help me do that, like the innovative person at Bidyat, at DBS, I listened to that with fascination, and I thought, you know what? I've got to up my game. I'd better start with this chat GPT. I've got to figure out how to ask it questions. And really just to get into the swing of that, But it's interesting, isn't it? It's a whole move. It's a mind shift move.
Exactly. And what Dr. James also said, I mean, I totally agree with you. It's about the balance. And like what I'm noticing, the joke is I have a brother who's 10 years older than me, and he's very different. Like I'm very liberal and very international, and he's very conservative and very traditional. And he doesn't even own a smartphone. So he has still those phones where you press buttons, and you have to make like these traditional calls. I didn't even know they sell them still. I'm not sure where he got them. So he doesn't have a WhatsApp. Like I have been living around the world for the last 20 years now. I can't send him pictures or videos because he doesn't own a smartphone and doesn't know how to use one. And I'm just kind of looking at also his generation, and I'm realizing if you're not learning with where the world is heading, you're being left behind. And whatever we might say or think about AI, it's the next thing. So, and we, with everything what we are, right, with our understanding of the human connection, we don't really have a choice. It's like in earlier days, people who rejected internet. I mean, who is going to buy anything on internet? Well, what is internet? So they were left behind. So the same now is happening with AI, which then brings me to the next question today. So when we talk about creators of AI, because we know that AI is only as smart as the data that has been put into this. And then we as users, especially like with an open AI, for example, it analyzes us, it analyzes what we do, and it learns. So even though we might not have created the platform, but we are educating it. So we are also responsible. So when we talk about creators and users of AI and our responsibility, so what do you think we can do to ensure that there is this preservation of human dignity in a digital age? And who would like to? Yeah.
I would say that there has to be public advocacy for greater discretion, greater ethics in the content that is being generated. After all, it's being generated from some, let's say, fountains. And so advocacy, enough and more people saying that they want it to be ethical, they want it to function with integrity, and especially Gen Alpha, the generation that's the first generation to be born into the AI. Time will tell whether they accept AI generated content, because on one hand we talk about authenticity, on the other hand we are working with AI generated content. Will they accept it, or will they insist on transparency? Will they insist on originality, what we call originality? And let's admit that there are only 7 original stories in the world, and the rest are all permutations and combinations. So it's a fallacy to say originality or expect it from every single person. And I do believe that we're swinging, mankind's human history has been like that. You swing like a pendulum to extreme sides.
Yes.
Right now, we are at one of those stages. And with time, we'll swing the other way, and then gradually we will come to the center. That's how it's been. It's the human cycle.
Just
Right now, that's what's happening in my view.
Just to add on this, what came to my mind as you were saying that they might just ask for more transparency. Like I know for a fact, speaking about social media, there are Instagram accounts with AI models, totally generated, looks like a very beautiful human being, usually female, because apparently they sell better. So no one wants to look at a beautiful man online. I don't know why. So they're all female models, and the model agencies developing entire persona. They're blogging about them. They have stories. They invent lives. They actually sit down and they not just give a name to this avatar. They think out an entire life, where this person lives, who they date, what is the name of their kids, and the joke around it that those avatars not only have a lot of followers and views because everything is so beautiful, they get sponsorship from gyms, from nutrition brands, from clothes. And I'm just thinking, they don't even have a body. They don't go to the gym. They don't eat food, but they are making money through this. And young kids view them as influencers without even knowing it's not a real person. Just a little detour. So, Dr. James.
That is now amplifying imagination.
This is surreal.
Turning that into an economically driven destruction. Wow.
Yeah.
It is very disturbing, actually.
It's real or not, but it's happening.
It's real.
Yeah.
I believe we should continue to feed AI, and HI. The other AI is authentic intelligence, and the HI is heart intelligence. We feed it cognitive intelligence. We always hear people say, you think so much, you think so much, you think so much. You never hear people say, you feel so much. We need to feed AI more, not soft skills, because that's a pet peeve of mine, people skills, life skills, because dealing with people is not soft. So if you want to see me cringe, say soft skills. So give AI more people centric examples, information from the heart, balance, then information from the head. And that's the longest 15 inches for learning in the world, the head and the heart. Balance, and I believe AI will continue to grow, but grow with balance.
Wow.
Linda, anything to add to this?
No, I'm passing on this question now.
Just the mic a bit closer.
I'm passing on this question. I'm digesting what I'm listening to. Pardon that I'm listening so much. No, it's insane. This is lovely. My 15 inches definitely.
Okay, you want to pause on this?
I'm going to pass on this.
Okay,
if I
okay,
may,
pause.
Yana.
It's okay. You can pause. That's okay. We're gonna go. Do you want to add something here? I see that you want to add something to this. Neerja.
I do, but I just wanted to tell you that you described something earlier when you were talking about your generation sharing a lot of pictures of your children on the social media. There's a term for it. It's called sharenting.
Wow. Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yes, and there is another joke about it. You know, for those children who grow up, good luck looking through all the 3 million pictures your parents uploaded of you online.
And they can take you to court.
And they can take you to court. Exactly. Which brings us to the next question. So we are kind of now sort of laughing about AI. And we think, okay, so how can we integrate AI? How can we teach it to be more human? And my question would be, so let's amplify our imagination and think that we can actually partner with AI in fostering and enhancing our authentic human connection. First of all, do you think is that possible? And if yes, how do you envision that?
Well,
Go for it.
I think that we can't afford to be passive consumers. And we'll have to step up. We can't be villainizing AI. If we really want to do something about it, we have to step up. We have to educate ourselves. We have to understand how the data is fed, how it is, what is at the core of it, where does it originate, who are the people who are actually putting it together, because AI is also influenced by the prejudices of the people who are designing it, right? So there's discrimination there. There are views there which are not entirely objective. So really, it's on us to do the hard work. So this is not the time to cry about AI. This is the time to understand it and maybe do a training, do a course, learn more about it. Where does it come from? After all, it's coming from somewhere. Right now, we are treating it as this big dark cloud that's coming at us, and we need to fend it off, or we need to protect ourselves, or something like that. I don't think that's the way it needs to be. It can be approached with far more, again, optimism and a plan.
And advocacy.
Yes, advocacy.
I'm using the word from Dr. James.
Public advocacy for ethics in AI.
Beautiful, Dr. James.
I so agree. And it's up to us. I remember Walt Disney once said, imagination is greater than knowledge. So thinking, don't see the problems, see the possibilities. Don't see the obstacles, see the opportunities. And don't brag about just thinking outside the box. I say, lead outside the box, speak outside the box, love outside the box. Tell you what, get rid of the box.
I love
That's the limitation. So as we look at AI, think about how else we can use it. For those of us who play golf, we hit the ball pretty far every now and then, but what would happen if we got a club that would help you drive that ball so much further? That's how we should be thinking about AI. not losing our club, but how can we use it so that what we're doing can be projected that much more further? That's what I think.
It's not fair that I have to speak after you.
Okay, after that, we're going to go to quick fire chat, and I'm going to start with you, okay? So you're going to be the first one.
And not only do I lose my train of thought, but
Because we're just listening so much too, right?
absolutely.
As you listen with your 3 ears, these two, and your heart, and you're taking it in.
I'm taking it in, and now I must also talk. Guys, it's a little bit too much on the multitasking side, though I'm a woman and can do that quite effectively. Ask my dogs, they know. But yes, because what I did right here with regard to bridging the gap and rising up to AI, it's here. I need to learn, I need to unpack. And what I liked today in the presentations was listening to another speaker who's already started to hit that golf ball quite far. And that has been inspiring to me to say, hold on, it's not so bad. It's not this ogre. It's vastly different to what I knew and is vastly different to my go-to strategies. But I've seen someone else do it who's a bit closer to my age. So it's not the youngster, because we tend to believe not the youngsters don't know. But that has been so inspiring. And I think then as a speaker, that's how we take people forward. You know, those of us who are still in the back truck of the tractor and help us to go so far forward that we eventually also not only buy the golf club, but we get the entire set, you know, and off we go. Because, like the teenager here that has encouraged me, yes, we have a role to play, and we too then can bring the others along for the humanness where they've got all the other AI-ness.
Absolutely. And just to add to this, if I keep coming back to my bonus son, who is Gen Z, right? Since I brought him on a conversation.
Love that you use the term bonus son.
Oh, you know, I heard it from someone and I laughed because I always, when someone would describe me as a stepmother, I always think about Cinderella story. And I'm like, I'm not that bad. I'm actually trying to be quite nice. So someone mentioned this bonus parent and bonus child, and I loved it. It changes everything.
It does.
It's hot, right? And then when I talk about him.
Extra.
Exactly. It's this extra. So my bonus son, who is Gen Z, and we had this conversation with him, and I love how his generation is very optimistic. And they actually think AI is great. It is not going to take away jobs, or it's going to actually free time for people to do exactly what you want to do. And I remember he was telling me, just think about it, like in the old age, when they moved from carriages and horses to cars, it actually created more jobs because now there are cars and people were faster. So he was saying that, you know, there are so many things that actually will be unfolding. We don't even just know yet what it is. Which brings us to very quick fire questions, and you don't know what they are, and you can answer in 1-2 words or maximum 1 sentence. So the first thing that comes to your mind, okay? And Linda, I'm warning you, you're going to be first because you asked for this. So 1 question, you know, for each person, and there will be 5 of them. So here we go. If ChatGPT can write your keynote in 7 seconds, do you still deserve your speaker fee?
Undoubtedly, because no doubt I'd have programmed ChatGPT I would have prompted it with my words in order to make it interesting for my audience.
Okay.
Yes, I'm claiming.
Okay, yes. Dr. James?
I'm torn. I'm torn because when you pay for me, you get all of me. And ChatGPT may not get all of me. It may get what they want me to. Okay, short.
Short, yes, short.
I'm torn because I go back to the balance.
Okay, torn, balance. Yes, Neerja?
I would be the leader, and I am the one who would be ideating, and the chat GPT is doing my bidding. So I 100% would deserve my
I think you should double your fees.
fee.
Okay, so next question. So be honest, okay? Have you ever asked AI to punch up your punchlines, and did it actually work or not?
I've used AI for multiple things to add humor to a talk. I've even used AI to do some very sensitive letter writing. And I will insist that it has only made my skill sharper. It's only to do this better.
Made you more human. Made you more
Not,
human.
not replace my thinking. So yes,
Beautiful. Dr. James?
Haven't done it yet. And now that I've heard all this reinforcement, I'm going to put it to the test. I'm one of those folks who I'll do it my way. I want to see if it's as creative.
Okay. Looking for the results.
Absolutely.
Linda,
My answer's short. No, haven't done.
will you try? Are you curious?
No.
Okay, we're moving to the next question.
Your first question reminded me of when we went virtual. We would go for the opportunity, and our clients would say, I'm going to pay you less. You're not in person. And I'm saying I'm doing the same thing, although
Hold on. It brings me to the next question. Okay, so we have two more questions very quickly to go. Next question: would you ever let a deep fake avatar deliver your keynote while you're sipping cocktails in Bali if no one could tell the difference? Dr. James, so you go first then. No. Okay, quick. No.
No.
it's
No, thank you.
it's my, I'm not going to say generation. I'm a proud baby boomer, but I just
Okay, it just no. Neerja?
I will give it a try.
Yeah.
Certainly, most certainly.
Okay, so one more. AI can read now facial expressions really well in the audience. So, as a human being, as a speaker, do you think you are still better than AI to read your audience? Very quickly, Neerja, what do you think?
Half. Mm-hmm. So I would take assistance from what the AI is reading and coming up with, but I will also go with my gut feeling because one channel as a speaker is observing the audience reactions. So I will give both.
Okay, Dr. James.
there too. Aeneas Nin once said, "We don't see things as they are; we see them as we are." And maybe
I'm not
maybe it
answering
will.
anymore, thank you. No.
Okay, with that, as we are wrapping up our podcast today, I just would like to give you maybe just one sentence for each person if you would like to have like a closing remarks for our conversation. And Linda, please, you go first. So one sentence you just want to say to the camera to kind of wrap up what it is we talk about today that you want to land with the audience. What would that be?
AI has potential. Get yourself a golf club and smack that ball really far.
Point. Dr. James.
When we're young, we look a lot like our parents. When we get older, we look a lot like our choices. As it relates to AI, choose wisely.
Human connection is not under any threat by AI. Human connection is not under any threat by AI. And what we are experiencing today is what I call morbid inertia. We'll get over it.
And as we're finishing this podcast and going back into the world with algorithm and human connection, let's just remember this, that it is not the power of the world that moves people, but our audacity and courage to be authentic humans. So let's just go there and do that. And thank you for joining us with this episode for the Amplify Imagination podcast, where ideas ignite, voices rise, and the future gets a little louder. Keep daring, keep dreaming, and above all, keep amplifying.